without giving anything away, without spoiling anything, I know it's hard to do this, but I'm kind of a nerd about how movies are made. So we see your character in different stages throughout the film,
Sure.
at different points in her life. How did they achieve the weight gain element of it? How did they make the cheeks and the belly? How did they do all that?
Well, there's lots of elements. A lot of it's, I gain the weight that Gillian describes in the book.
Really?
Which is 12 pounds. Amy kind of, hides inside her body at some point, or takes on another body, or whatever, however you want to look at it. But also, Jeff Cronenworth, our DP, and David, they really explored how to shoot me differently. How to light me differently, and very flat light during all that, and very sculptural light in other places. Obviously, there's, we explored everything that we could do to change things, to change skin tone, but not for the sake of it, but always with something that could be explained, like she's out there with no sunscreen, so she can be more tanned, or and then there were certain enhancers in certain costumes, to sort of just accentuate when, because when you put an actor into this chemistry lab of weight gain, but you don't know where that person is going to gain the weight. Some people gain it on their face, some people gain it on their butt, which is not so helpful for a film, which basically kind of is waist up. So.
Yeah, I find it fascinating because I purposely did not read the book because I knew you were adapting the screenplay. I knew that David Fincher was doing it. So I didn't want to know anything. So for people who have read the book and know what's going on, how do you adjust a screenplay in such a way where you still make a film intense for people who have already know the plot twists? How do you do that?
You don't. I didn't do the screenplay with any aim toward how do I keep people interested who have read the book. I think people who've read the book will go to it for an entirely different reason that people haven't read the book. And, I think people who've read the book will go to see it, not to see it completely remade or to have different surprises or different storylines. They want to see these characters come to life, and they want to see some oxygen come into this sort of story. So for me, the main goal was just to make it a really good movie as opposed to searching out certain audiences.
Again, keeping this very vague, I've spoken to actors who have taken on good and bad characters in their lives, and one thing they always say is they have to justify the elements of that character, justify why that person would do that. For you, as an actress, do you have to personally justify what Amy is doing throughout the movie? I don't know if you can keep that answer vague.
It's not really justifying it. It's just understanding her motivations. I mean, it's just knowing who she is, knowing what she comes from, knowing what her agenda is. And then it goes beyond, I don't have to feel guilty that I have to, that's Amy. I mean, because Amy's not someone who needs to justify.
Interesting.
Really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's why people, have often brought up to me, the idea of a feminist agenda or whatever. And I mean, it's fine, I think, if people want to look for that. But that's not what Amy's about, because after all, if you had a feminist agenda, you'd be doing it for all women. And Amy is an only child. She is alpha, she's singular. She goes on her own path for her own ends.
Yeah. Now, I know you worked for EW for a while. You were a TV critic for the magazine. I thought it was fantastic. You did great work. But I want to ask you that whole idea of media manipulation in this movie and how it manipulates modern justice, the system of the TV show, and I'm wondering, was that something that played into the fact that you were in media and that you criticized elements of television? Was that something kind of how that played into the book and to the story?
I wanted particularly the media to feel like just one big booming voice in this, that as the stories and lies that the different characters were telling each other, and here was this larger kind of almost monolithic sort of a voice that was projecting onto just an image and telling a story against someone's will, and for him to feel, kind of trapped by that. So I wasn't as much having come from media as just wanting that more of that big public voice in there.
Yeah, I want you to go back and review some of these current TV shows. By the way, you should review Breaking Bad. I want to see all that kind of stuff happen, man.
I do miss it sometimes. I do feel like I got a lot to say on this show.
Yeah, it was
Nowhere
a pleasure
to
meeting
say
you
it.
both.
Nice to meet you too, Kevin.